next guests, comedians Beckett and Josh Widdicombe, both dads, and both in lockdown, of course. They've teamed up for a new podcast, sharing some of their parental experience.
Are you in touch with your kids a lot? And are you doing all that Zoom and all that kind of stuff? Family Zoom quizzes?
Sadly, yes. I mean, well, we haven't found that the quiz thing really works. We did do one that my daughter set up with some young friends of hers, and we were tragically out of step anyway, because it was all stuff about on Ariana Grande's second album. And we're like, really? Which one of the Kardashians? And we went, we don't know. How do we know this? We got a very, very...
But when you interview them, Jonathan, you sound so interested in their albums.
Josh?
Yes?
I'm going to treat that with the contempt it deserves.
Well, Rob and Josh, join me now. Hello, you two. It's lovely to see you. How are you doing?
Yeah, good.
Thanks,
You're all
Lorraine.
You're okay. Oh, that's good. I'm glad. Now, look, this is lockdown parenting hell. So,
It really
Rob,
is.
how has it been? How has it all been? And how have you been explaining this to your little ones?
Well, they're a bit too young. They're 4 and 2, so I've just told them the park's dirty and they're cleaning it, right? And they've been saying, surely they should have cleaned it by now. But I'm like, no, we can't go. But it's hard. They're just so busy. They're 4 and 2. They get up at 5 a.m, Lorraine. I'm so tired. I can't go.
It is. I think everybody is experiencing that. They absolutely are. It's always the same. And Josh, the same for you too. How are you doing with... It's kind of like, 24-hour parenting, I guess, which is what... Yeah, which is fine. It's all right.
Yeah, I made a breakthrough this morning, Lorraine. I've worked out a game called Pillow Pile, where you pile the pillows on the child, and then you say to them, the game is how long can you stay still? And it really kept her in position for a good 2 or 3 minutes. So I'm seeing that as a breakthrough. If I can play that 60 times today, that's 3 hours.
No, exactly. As long as you make sure that you're not smothering them, because that would be bad.
No, it's on the lower body. It's on the
lower
lower
yes,
body.
Yes, thank you. I think we should make that very clear.
face.
Do not try that at home.
Yeah,
Do not try that at
sorry.
home. But what would you say have been your best parenting
Thank God for the tip,
experiences
Lorraine.
in this?
I just need to go and check on something. I'll be back in a minute.
Yeah, I would if I was you. It might be an idea. It might be an idea. So, Rob, what's the best? Let's be positive. What's the best thing about being locked down with your babies? What's the best thing?
Well, since we started the podcast, what I've realised is that, because they're so young, a lot of people we spoke to with older kids have said they miss it so much, like when they've got teenagers that don't talk to them and they've got the ump with them. So I have appreciated them being younger, but when you're in the war zone with them, it's brutal. It's non-stop. We're doing potty training. There's just mess everywhere. Every activity you get from they do within 2 minutes. It's like organising a stag do every day for 2 months. It's impossible to get. And I was sick of those Instagram parents going, "Oh, my kids are doing yoga now. We're baking." No, they're not. You're lying. And I just found solace in speaking to my friends like Josh and WhatsApp groups saying, "Look, I'm finding it tough," and I love them to pieces, but you can still find it challenging. And in this podcast, we talk to people that feel the same way. So hopefully, if you listen to the podcast, you'll have a laugh and be reassured that you do love your kids, but you can get annoyed by them.
Exactly.
It's
You
fine.
love them very much, but sometimes you don't really like them. Just for brief
100%.
moments.
Yes.
You know, but all the time you love, of course you do.
Always.
Now, lovely Josh, last leg is back. You managed to get it back, and it's global. Because we've got Adam in Australia.
Yeah, Adam's in Australia and Alex
Yeah.
is in Huddersfield. So it's the big three, London, Melbourne and Huddersfield. We've got, with no delay to Australia, but somehow a delay to Huddersfield, which says all you need to know about Alex's Wi-Fi.
It does. Was it good to be back, though? Good to be back with the gang?
Yeah, it's an hour away from my child, Lorraine. It's genuinely the most freeing hour of my week.
And how do you manage, though? That's the problem, because we're going to be talking to Katie Piper later, and she's got the same kind of issues. She's trying to do her podcast, and kids are running in and out everywhere. It's really hard when you're, to separate work from home. When you're working from home, it's difficult.
It really is, because there's that situation. So I'm in my office in upstairs in my house now, and you can hear, the child go, shouting or whatever, and it's difficult, isn't it, to concentrate? But I do fear that one of the reasons we set up this podcast was just for some free time ourselves.
Yeah.
So that we could say that our complaining was actually work.
Well,
also, I don't want to do this top trumps, Lorraine, but Josh has got one kid that has a 2-hour nap. So as far as I'm concerned...
1.5
That's
hour.
part-time. 1.5, 90 minutes. Oh, don't.
the length of a football match, remember those?
I know.
That's exactly what I know. We do want that back. What do you know when we ever get back to normal or the new normal or whatever anybody wants to call it? Rob, what are you going to do? What's the first thing that you want to do when all the things that you can do?
Well, I think I'll wait for my wife to take the kids out, then I'll sit in my house in silence and stare. That's the dream. That's all I want.
That's all you want.
Just like that.
Just like that.
Have a break from staying alert and just... Because I'm like that now, but I just like that.
Well, I have noticed you've been very alert. You've been tweeting lots of alertness.
I'm so alert. Just in case I see any corona, I'm going for it. Nothing's going to catch me out.
Being alert all the time. Josh, what about you? What do you want to do when all this is finished? Is it the dream to go down the pub or just to meet up with pals, or what do you want to do?
I'm putting my daughter into nursery for 8 days a week. That's agreed now.
You don't mean that. You don't mean
No, I don't.
I know at some points of the day you probably do mean that, that's for sure. Now, look, it's interestingly how different parts of the world are dealing with things in different ways. In Singapore, you know how the police have said here it's going to be really difficult to sort of separate people in parks and things and say to them, you know, you're not 2 metres apart, and because they just don't have the manpower. In Singapore, they're using dogs, but robot dogs. It's brilliant. Look, this is robot dog. This is they're called various different names. I think that one's Lima. The other one's called Spot. And basically, they've got tech and cameras, and they can tell if somebody is not the full 2 metres or 6 feet apart, and it gives you into trouble. And it gives you into trouble. And I mean, I'm sorry if that dog told me.
I've ever seen.
Do you know? I think that's brilliant, though.
Yeah.
Imagine having a sunbathe and that creeps up next to you. You feel like you're in some sort of horror film.
I know, but it's quite a good idea, because I feel sorry for the police, because they've got to sort of say to people, you're not right, and then, you know, they might get shouted at and it could all get messy.
Yeah.
The dog isn't going to bother, but if you shout abuse at it...
No one's taken on a robot dog.
I think you need to do it.
But you do realise this is the start of the sci-fi film, and in 10 years the world is run by robot dogs, Lorraine. It's not just about sunbathing. That's my worry.
That probably is the worry, and it'll be like Terminator, it'll be really true. Do you not feel as if you're living in a movie and it's really bad film and you're fed up with it?
Yeah.
Yeah, but I'm trying to keep positive, Lorraine. That's what I've done. Try and keep morale up, right? You've got the whole nation. You're the positive one. You're that sort of recovery from the arguments earlier.
I know.
Also, Lorraine, can I just say thank you?
To cheer up Lorraine Kelly.
Lorraine, I want to say thank you, because I've managed to get out of... We had an online shop delivered this morning at this time, and I've been in it, and I told Lou I was on Good Morning Britain as a whole. I've been here since 6. I've had 4 hours.
You protected. You
just
are
alert, waiting for my chance. She don't know.
That is so bad. You are so naughty.
They're keeping me waiting. I'm supposed to be chatting to... They might be getting an MP.
Well, you never know. You never know. Tell them you've got to stay on for this morning and then loose women as well, and that'll get you up to about 1:30 this afternoon.
Yeah, I'll have like swords from Saturday. I'm still going. The nation needs to chat about parenting.
Listen, you two are absolutely gorgeous. I think you look like brothers as well. There's a definite wee likeness there, don't you?
Yeah. I look like I'm the area manager of Pizza Express, and Josh looks like he works there. That's the vibe.
He does. Yeah. It's excellent. Wouldn't it be good when restaurants are open again and we can do all of that? Guys, thank you so much.
Thanks so much, Lorraine.
Thank you, Lorraine. Can you come on the podcast with us?
Yes, I'd love to. I'd love to. I'd do anything with you two. Yes. Anything at all.
Oh, OK. Well, let's keep that, 2 metres apart.
It'd be hard. I've heard that'd be all right for you, though, 2 metres apart.
Yeah, I'll manage.
Thank you both. The Lockdown Parenting Hell podcast is good. New episodes every week. I love you both. Thank you very much.
Love you, Lorraine. Bye.